Hey everyone, welcome back to Leading Human, the podcast that keeps you connected to your big self, your team's full potential, and the future of human-centered work. I'm your host, Chad Prevost. Good to be with you here today. And I want to talk with you about a book that's been haunting me a little, and I mean that in the best possible way. It's been sticking with me, and it's called Play Your Piano. It is, don't worry, this is not a book club episode. I'm not going to dive too deeply into this, and I know you didn't necessarily sign up to hear about a book, but just if you'll stay with me, you'll see the parallels that we are drawing from, and that is what I'm trying to bring you guys in different episodes are just different ways of thinking, things you might not be able to get anywhere else, different ideas, especially when it comes to the relationship of what we're going through right now as humans and in this disruptive world of AI. And incredibly, Kurt Vonnegut's, I think, was this his first novel? It was published all the way back in 1952. And despite being, I didn't know this at the time. I thought it was like I thought it was written in the last decade. But it's over 70 years old, and it might be one of the most relevant books you could read right now if you work in or think about AI at all, which I assume you probably do if you are listening to this podcast, because that's kind of the idea of Leading Human. We are engaged in what is happening here, neither as singing the praises of AI nor disparaging the reality on the ground of it. But it's here. It's the AI. It's not going to go anywhere. And I think we need to wrap our minds around what our human experience is going to be in this transitional period. And so that is what is so striking about Player Piano, that is set in, it's not in a post-war America. So but Vonnegut writing this in the early 1950s, not long after World War II, well, he is imagining sort of like we're coming out of a World War III. It's a different society that he's imagining. And it's a near future that would be shaped by what they were calling the second industrial revolution, in which machines have taken over almost all the labor. First, it was the physical, and now increasingly the cognitive. Does this sound familiar? And the country, it's stable technically. No one's starving. Everyone has housing. So in many respects, it's a better society than the one we currently have here in the United States, in which there are millions who don't have housing. Most people don't have jobs, not because there are none, but because the machines pretty much do everything better. And it's like slowly evaporating. There's still lots of jobs, or there's still some jobs to be had, but you are going to get that if you are in this privileged class and loyal to the insiders, the elite who are in power. So in those ways, I feel like the word is prescient. This is a prescient world. I don't know if we would necessarily call it a dystopian world. We'll get to that. Also, it's interesting that in the novel, the characters are speculating about this looming possible third industrial revolution, a leap where machines not only do the labor, but the thinking, and just completely replace us all, even with creativity, decision making, and strategy, which I think is interesting. For at least 10 years, you hear people frequently talking about how we're at the last stages of an overly mature, so it's a dying wave of the implications of this revolution that was the industrial revolution. We're in these latter phases of it. So what's going to happen when we are in this post-industrial world? Well, we're in a transitional period of it. We're still in it, and that's some of the problems, right? It's a scary time. It's a transitional, disruptive time. But I think that, in terms of how a lot of AI enthusiasts want to talk about this brave new world that we're going to be living in, and especially as a Gen Xer who very much lived through all the exuberance and enthusiasm and optimism of the internet and all the implications that the internet was going to give to us in terms of creating a brave new world that was much more democratic, and that the whole world had access to information all over the world, so long as you could have a dial-up connection somewhere. From the late 90s through Y2K and into the early 2000s, in which you kind of doubled one amazing advance in technology of the internet, and you doubled down on it by having, about 10 years later, the evolution and development of social media. And I think, what was it, 2008-ish, or maybe a little after that, where we had that orange revolution in Iran, and it was a peaceful revolution, and everybody was texting and galvanizing by using social media. And there was just all of this optimism for a more democratic world. And now, wow, what a difference another decade and a half makes. It's anything but, right? And I would say, in some respects, the powers that be are every bit as much powerful, if not more so. But that's maybe another reality check or another subject. Interestingly, though, I just want to pull some parallels with player piano in our times. That, one thing I think that is amazing about player piano is that in Vonnegut's world, it is still rigidly hierarchical. At the top are the engineers, the scientists, and the corporate technocrats who design, maintain, and oversee the machines. And the majority, the former laborers, craftspeople, have been rendered economically useless. And they receive basic necessities and are technically provided for, but their purpose, the pride in what they do, their societal value, have been stripped away. In fact, I would say that the division between that technocratic elite and idle majority is one of the book's central tensions. And, despite the absence of starvation or poverty, the emotional and existential consequences of becoming obsolete loom very large. And in our current day situation, it's not even as good as that, as where there, I already mentioned that. So moving on, without this being a book report, but I'm just trying to look at some of the interesting, fascinating parallels. And I guess a turning point, we could say, in the novel comes from when the machine defeats the protagonist, Paul Proteus. Paul Proteus is an ethical engineer, by the way. He's this high-ranking engineer, and he's done well very easily in his social world, but he begins to question the moral and social implications of the system he helps to uphold. And so his journey reflects the disillusionment that many technologists probably feel today. Those who once celebrated innovation but now kind of question its impact on inequality, mental health, meaning and purpose. But the turning point, I think, comes from when the machine defeats Paul. Paul can't be beaten by any human. He's undefeated. And the machine fails the first time, but it's because it kind of breaks down. Then it plays later, and it's that idea of replacing the cognitive person, the way that we are considered important in the workforce and in society. So at this point, it's not just about factory jobs anymore. Machines are invading the domains of human thought, and you could say human reflection and analysis and play. And, I mean, a lot of people define this AGI and singularity moment in different ways. This moment where machines will officially be smarter than humans, and what's going to happen. It's the point of like no return or something. But I don't know. Like it depends on how you define it, because right now your Chat GPT, which is all that many people think of AI as, your Chat GPT is way smarter than you. I mean, I don't know how smart you are, but I doubt that, anybody could ask you anything about anything and you would have like detailed responses from like your incredibly rich database of resources. In that regard, recall and the like speed of processing, they are just, there's no comparison how much smarter it is already. I suppose we could say that maybe the lots of the forth tellers and the futurists will say that no, it's this when the machines do this thinking for themselves, not prompt based, but also they do a thinking for themselves that we would call creative thinking. And I don't know, maybe in some ways it'll never reach what we do. I think some people hold out the hope for that. But anyway, this turning point is it's happening. And the main thing is like, what are we doing to think about the society that we are creating, that we are moving into? Do we feel powerless to do anything about it? Do we want to construct in different approaches to what it could be like and try to participate in that in a more hopeful way? Because what I'm reading in Player Piano is very much the reality on the ground now, where they're the AI evangelists promising a utopia, effectively, where there will be no repetitive labor. There will be limitless creativity or opportunities to be creative. There will be personalized education. There will be endless abundance. It's this idea of the gross national product you hear will double or triple from the current size that it is. And that means everyone's got a bigger slice that they will be able to participate in. And of course, you would hear this from lots of libertarians, I would say, in the toward the especially end of the 20th century, would say we're not talking when we build wealth and possibilities, we're creating a bigger pie for everyone. I don't know how much that turned out to be true or not. Maybe you all can decide. Also, though, there's this promise of this leisure for all. But I find this novel kind of a sobering reminder that, first of all, disruption will precede any kind of utopia. And that's what we're in right now, where people are losing their jobs, often losing a sense of identity and their role in society. And the machines may be ready. In fact, that's what I understand is like some of the AI companies are only slowly releasing what AI can already do because of how ready are humans to engage with it. Kind of frightening. Um, but I get for today's data scientists, AI builders, technologists, and all of us in our respective industries, player piano, it's not just fiction. It's a blueprint for what not to repeat. AI brings promise, automation of drudgery, faster problem solving. It promises better healthcare and tools for creativity. But like Vonnegut's cautionary tale, we must ask who benefits from this transition? How do we preserve the dignity and purpose, meaning and purpose for all? And can we create systems where automation supports rather than replaces humanity? Like the humans in the novel are struggling because it's not because they lack food, it's because they lack function. They don't know who they are. And I think a piece of work like this helps us to imagine not only what we're building, but why. And so we are forced to contend with the human spirit as much as the machine's capabilities. Uh, so that is why you are here listening to Leading Human, because this is what we're exploring. We are interested in this subject because at Big Self School, we are coaches, therapists, we are organizational consultants where we work on things like trust building and accountability and different ways to have self-awareness and communicate with one another better, more efficiently, but because it's better and not so toxic. And we actually do the things that we say that we commit to, and we follow through, and we're able to accept and give good feedback. Very human things. And we have been developing to participate in the reality that we are in. We are developing our Emma AI Assist to especially help organizations to communicate better and have better self-awareness. So what we are doing is creating AI in order to assist humanity. So if we talk about AI, it's not just to be an enthusiast or an evangelist for it. We want to talk about it soberly. We want to talk about it thoughtfully. And let's listen to all sides of the experience of it, but also in this way of accepting the reality and not like hiding from it, pretending it's not there, merely just hating on it. There are a lot of parallels to AI and electricity. Like electricity was coming to the cities in the 1920s and made it to as the reaches of the rural areas, at least in the United States, in the 1930s. And here we are in the 2020s, and we have a real revolutionary tool at our disposal. I'm pretty sure it won't create a utopian society, but I think there are a lot of possibilities for us if we can use it appropriately and use it thoughtfully. So that is the way that I would like for you to think about this episode. It's an invitation to engage with these topics, to imagine not only what we're building, but why, to consider where you will find the answers, to engaging with AI more thoughtfully. Thanks for listening to Leading Human. And if today's conversation sparked something, leave us a review and share this episode with a colleague. And subscribe for more. We're here to support your growth and your teams with every episode. Until next time, stay present, stay human, and keep leading from the inside out.
Want a communication and well-being workshop that actually sticks? Whether you're building trust or leveling up team accountability, we've got you. Book your custom team training via the link in the show notes.